This is Shaman Weaver, Sheila Baker. And we're doing Facebook Live tonight for Enlightened Spiritual Warriors and for Shaman Weaver's people as well. So I am the founder of Shaman Weaver, and some of you might want to know why I call my work that. As a psychotherapist, a nurse first, then a psychotherapist, a mom, and some other things, it seemed to me that the way that hey Emily, hey Paula, the way that we come together is that we weave things. Our clothing is woven. The things hi Siobhan, the things that we wear are woven together. Our lives are woven. And so it seemed to me that taking shamanism and nursing and psychotherapy and the other things and weaving them together into a basket, if you will, an offering, was really what Shaman Weaver is all about. So tonight, what I'm going to talk about is I posted a little thing. It said, have you ever had self-doubt? And then I went, well, duh. Hey, Rebecca. Hi, Tom. So everyone has self-doubt, right? It's part of learning and growing and bringing ourselves to an edge. It's a little bit like the Fool card in the Tarot. So when you are in that place where you're not quite sure what to do next, well, let's get interactive. What I'd love to do is have you write down what kind of things have you done in the past to overcome. Hi, Nunyan. To overcome self-doubt. What did you do? Sometimes we use a little wine. Sometimes we use a little something else. So what have you used in the past? And I'm going to give you some tips about some things that I think are really cool to use and will also really enhance all of your life, not just the underpinning of the self-doubt. Self-doubt is, like I said, it's a nasty companion, and yet it's part of our makeup. So anybody want to share what they've used? Well, while you're typing away madly over there, I'll tell you some of the things that people use. Sometimes they use food. Sometimes they use alcohol. Sometimes they use the procrastination. That's a really good one. Well, I'll go next time. Like, for instance, think about, have you, going to a party where you are so nervous that the things that come out of your mouth are absolutely not something that you would even think of. But boom, there it is dropping out of your mouth. You get nervous, and so what do? Well, then you run out to the restroom and sit in there for a few minutes to gather yourself. Ashwagandha. Yeah. There are any number of wonderful things. However, there is something internal that you can tap into so that when you begin to go to places that feel, well, obviously they're uncomfortable, right? Because otherwise, if we were comfortable everywhere, we would have no self-doubt. So when you don't know what to do, you don't know what's expected of you, then it brings up I call it anxiety, but I'm going to suggest that we turn it into excitement. And so just that little tiny tip that I just gave you, when you start to feel, oh, I'm on my way somewhere. Hey, Gypsy. I'm on my way, I'm going out, I'm feeling a little like that. I call it jiggy because it takes the stress and tension out of it. If you call it something that has a frivolous meaning, I like jiggy, and it doesn't have the impact of anxiety. So then what happens in the body is the body responds differently. So what you get instead of jiggy and side to side and you get, oh, I'm excited about that. So just for a moment for yourself, right wherever you are, think about a time. Hey, Carrie Jo, So what we're talking about here is our constant companion, it can be, of self-doubt, and how you can assuage it, how you can modulate it, and even how you can turn it into something useful. Because wouldn't it be wonderful for you to take an attribute that is coming up, you're nervous, and turn that into something that actually works for you? Hey, Kimberly. So what I know is I know that I've helped lots of people do this, and they're more confident and more joyous. They're actually doing things that they love to do. They're moved out of crappy jobs into fulfilling life adventures. And how fun is that? So the first thing that I'm going to suggest is that you call it something different. And I have a podcast. It's on my YouTube channel. So it's called Call It Something Different. So if you haven't listened to that, it's about 15 minutes long, totally worth it. Hey, Hester. So check that out. It's called Call It Something Different. And I'll pop the link into the Enlightened Spiritual Warriors later on, either tonight or first thing in the morning, so you can go and check out the podcast. So back to what you can do. So you're feeling something, and the old label locks you into the way that you have always thought about it. When you label it something different, and I call it jiggy, you can call it whatever you like, but if you call it excitement or sophistication or enjoyment, even it doesn't even matter if it's completely irrational what you're calling it, because your feelings are a little like that. Is there really a rational idea, thought? Have you done this 4,000 times and you know that you can't talk to anybody when you go out socially? Probably not. Hey, Janice. So unless you can substantiate what has already happened, and you don't really want to do that, you're proving it to yourself, so do your best to not do that. You don't really know that this is exactly what's going to happen the very next time. So when you're in self-doubt, just take a moment. And when you're uncomfortable, it's almost always because there's some self-doubt that's bubbling up. And so change the verbiage from I am whatever into something that's more life enhancing, even if it's absurd. The thing about shamanic principles is that oftentimes they are absolutely absurd. There is no reason that they ought to work, and yet they do. So change your verbiage. So I'm here to answer some of your questions, to engage in this conversation for you, to hey, Guillaume, to really dig down deep. And if there's some things about your life that's going on right now that you feel like tie into self-doubt, ask me about it. I'm here for you, and I'm loving that you're joining Enlightened Spiritual Warriors so that we can all come together to create a tribe that really is about our warrior selves, ourselves standing up and being in our own true authentic self. And the true authentic self is not one that let me do that differently. The true authentic self actually looks for places to dissolve the self-doubt. So think about self-doubt being a little bit like sugar that you put into your tea or into your coffee. Hey, Paula. And what happens to that? Or I have a hummingbird feeder. So I put sugar and water into my hummingbird feeder. The little hummingbirds love it. There's not little crystals of sugar all in there. It is all dissolved. So, Hester, I love that. I'm letting go of a well-paying corporate job to live my my mission of helping people heal from autoimmune disease. I love this, but it is scary too. So here's what I'm going to tell you about being scared. You have a huge mission. And if it was like, oh, yeah, this isn't bothering me, then you wouldn't be on your edge. When we are taking a step and boom, we're nervous about that, you're tapped in. So that's beautiful. So Hester, I have a question for you. How is it that you're bringing that out into the world? I'd love to hear about that. And if you want some assistance with the scary bit, because this is my forte, is taking people out of their well-paying, disheartening corporate jobs into being spiritual healers. So congratulations. I'm really excited for you. So PM me if you're ready to get some assistance with this. Siobhan, the career change has me self-doubting big time. I'm putting positive vibes in. Yeah, that's really a useful thing to do. So Siobhan, when you start to think about, ooh, I made this big career change, is it the right thing? And if things aren't manifesting in the way that we're expecting them to. So we have expectations. It's not like we're open to outcome, but not attached to expectations. We have expectations and we get attached to them. I love that you're putting the positive vibes in. And hi, David. And Siobhan, the way that you're putting your vibes in, I'm going to give you guys another little beautiful tip that was given to me, and so I'm going to pass it along to you. Begin each day in gratitude. And what I heard was a story from I'm probably not saying his name correctly, but Bashan Lahini, who is the founder of Mind Valley Academy. This is one of his stories. And what he said was he was on the verge of needing to allow some of his staff to go. And this was really troublesome to him. First of all, because his business obviously wasn't flourishing. He began saying 5 things that he loved about his body, that he's grateful for about his body. 5 things that he loves about his work, and 5 things about his future. And so what happened with that is out of that, he didn't need to lay anyone off. His staff actually increased 400%. So over 8 months. So here's another beautiful tip for you all. You can use gratitude. And recently someone was here. I'm in my house right now doing Facebook Live in front of my fireplace. And someone was here recently and was talking about all of the gifts that came because of gratitude. And when we're in self-doubt, it's very difficult to be going, oh, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, because we're going, oh, what if, and oh, what if, and oh, what if? And so, hi, Karen. Hey, Chuck, nice to see you both. So we do the what if game. And then every cell of our body is vibrating at that what if. And when we do that, the resonance of gratitude, it's really, like shake your hands around and try to grab one of them. It's very difficult. So the same thing happens in the body. The body begins to respond in a physical way. It starts trembling, your heart beats, your breath gets like this, and your knees knock, and you get all nauseous. So you have a full-on body response to what if. It isn't even true, and your body still responds, because when we put thoughts up here, our little 3 pounds up here goes, oh, I need to protect you. And the reptilian brain, way back down there at the bottom, just before you get to your neck, right back in that divot down there, is going danger, 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 danger all of the time. And so since it's doing that, what ends up happening is we get a full body rush of the anti-good stuff that the endorphins do. Call it whatever you like. But what ends up happening is we get this big old endorphin rush. And then our tummies get nauseous, we get a headache, and we think, oh, this is going really bad. And what if this thing happens? So I'm going to what if you. What if you actually sat, took a breath, breathed it out, took a couple more, and breathed them out, and got in touch with what's true. So, for each of us right now, what's true is we're sitting somewhere. And if the self-doubt piqued your curiosity and you're here because of that, you probably have some running around in your body right now. It's not attached to anything, but it's still in there. Hi, Fred. Hi, Cassidy. So it's still in there. And what we actually want to do is we want to breathe it out. So imagine breathing in confidence and breathing out self-doubt. And your lungs, you've got 3 lobes of your lungs, one way up here, one here, and then one at the bottom of the rib cage. Most of us don't use all 3. So there's some old breath way down in there. But if you lay down, so here you are, you're feeling all whatever, jiggy, you lay down and you commit to 3 breaths, or even you just sit down and you commit to 3 breaths. Well, imagine filling up the top of your lungs with the first breath. Way up here. We don't even think that they're up here. So way up there, and you whoosh it out. And then you get into the middle and expand that out. This is where we normally breathe, right in the middle, very shallow, hardly ever way down. And you take a breath into there, and then you whoo that out. And then you put your hands way down on your ribs. And you expand those out, and then you really let that go with a ha. So that simple thing, 3 breaths, is going to bring you back to the center where you recognize, oh, my butt is sitting on a chair or my back is laying down. I just took 3 breaths. What's true now? So the what ifs run us into the land of imagination. And most of our imaginations are quite good. They're not quite good in terms of getting you to think up. They're quite good in terms of getting you to think down. What if this bad thing happens? Well, and so on and so forth. Not getting verbiage to that anymore. So the breaths bring you into a place where you can actually see what's true now. So if you're just joining us, hi Asha. If you're just joining us now, I'm Shaman Weaver Sheila Baker, founder of Shaman Weaver. And what we're talking about this evening is assuaging. That's a much nicer term than wrestling or struggling or annihilating self-doubt. So we're in that process. So if you have questions about that or anything else, feel free to just pop them on there, because I'm here for you for probably another 10 or 15 minutes. So if you've got questions, just pop them on there and I'd be happy to answer them. So the very first tip that I gave you, in case you're just joining us now, is to change the verbiage. If you call something that is negative or has a low vibration, you keep on calling that in. If you call something that has a higher vibration, that's what you call in. So take words that have a charge for you, and by all means do this thing where you put in a word that has it's either complete gibberish like jiggy, I just made that up. There's no clinical thing that says jiggy looks like this and it affects your body like that. So feel free to make up a word for your very own self. And when it comes up that you're feeling that kind of thing, call it this other thing. Hi, Linda. So just by doing that, it changes the frequency. It changes the vibration. If you think of the difference between the vibration of feeling distraught, okay, get that? All right, whoa, down there somewhere. And elevated, excited, energized. They're two completely different vibrations. So just like the thing I mentioned a few minutes ago, waking up and giving gratitude for things that you love about your body, things that you love about your work, and things that you love about your future, puts you immediately, and first thing in the morning, into that, oh, I love this, I'm thankful for that. And that will carry you through the day. And if you happen to slip into some of that lower vibration communication, I invite you just to, there's two things you can do. One of them is you can put an elastic band around your wrist, and when you notice that you're doing that, you just pull that little elastic band and let it go. We move away from pain towards pleasure. So that will be enough, just bing, like that. That'll be enough. That'll wake you up. And you'll go, oh, okay, fine, I forgot. And you will keep on being more and more aware. Being awake, waking up spiritually means that we're aware. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden, we get to go out and sit in a cave somewhere with our little bowl. It doesn't mean that. It means that we're waking up, we're more aware, we're becoming more in alignment with our true and authentic self. So use the breath, 3 breaths. Use the 3 different gratitudes. Those will all begin to shift you into a place of having more harmony, more joy, and more life force, actually. So those 2 things. Let me see if I can think of another tip. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to have a sip of water. Has anyone got a question? Can't believe you guys are all here questionless. And isn't it interesting? I have no props. So I don't have a tarot card. But what I did bring is my bear. See? Bear is one of my power animals. Has been with me for, probably my whole entire life. Apparently I was a bear in a past life, so I don't think I was this pretty of a bear, but who knows. So that's in thinking about coming on and being with you tonight, I was going, oh, you know what? I usually have my tarot cards, and what's going to be the focus, and where can I engage, and what can I give to you? So if you've got questions, I can give you some reflections. And I'm going to go back to what Rebecca was talking about earlier today, and that she had a little thing on Enlightened Spiritual Warriors. You can go and check it out. And she was talking about how you're not everyone's cup of tea. Hey, Joseph. And you know what? That's okay. Everyone can't be for everyone. And when we discern, and I've been having some conversations about judging versus discerning, when you discern that something is right for you, hey James, then that lines up with you. Not everything is going to line up and have resonance, which is why we all do different jobs. We have different skills. We come together to share those. But if we all had exactly the same, we're all ditch diggers. So we got a lot of ditches being dug, but we don't have anything to put in the ditch because no one's coming along and creating the conduit for the water to go through, or building something, hey Nova, or building something on the other side of the ditch. All we have is a whole bunch of ditches being dug. So do your best not to think that you have to be like anyone else, or even that anyone else is going to appreciate you. So my response to Rebecca's post today was that I was told a number of years ago that 25% of the people will love me. Well, that made me just feel really happy. And then I was told that 25% of the people won't like me at all, which was actually a pretty big shock because I couldn't figure that out at all. What's not to like? And but it made me pay attention. And then I found out that 50% of all of the people couldn't care less about me. So if you look at that, now my investment is, do I invest my time and energy and desire and thoughts and anything into those 25% who don't like me? Well, that seems like kind of a waste of my time and energy. Do I go for the 50% who are indifferent? Well, maybe if there's something that's interesting and entertaining and I feel like I have to offer. The focus then becomes, Rebecca, from all of the 100% of people to the 25% that you're aligned with. And in that 25%, I mean, think, there's almost 8 billion people on the planet. So 25% of those 8 billion, let me see, I think that's 2 billion people. That's not bad. So focus on who does love you rather than who doesn't, and those who are completely indifferent. So there you go. So what I want to comment on is I just want to take a moment and comment on all of the beautiful wins that I have seen lately and all of the gratitude going out for those wins. I have a team that I work with, and 2 of my team members just got beautiful new jobs. They're very delighted with that. The work that I'm doing is morphing into beautiful things, and here I am on Facebook Live with you all. And I'm just watching others, the grace and ease that others are having. So when you set your sights, when you're open to outcome but not attached, allow yourself to, along the way to the outcome that you're not attached to have a journey that makes your heart sing. So if you're doing something that you're finding isn't making your heart sing, so the last tip for tonight I'm going to give you is one of my very own favorite personal ones, because I think it's about having fun. Now, fun doesn't mean you don't do the work. Fun means you figure out a way to do the work in a way that makes it fun for you. Now, the way that I do it might not work for you. So you get to find your very own personal way of doing that. If I'm doing something and it's not fun, I change my attitude. So that's the very first place I go. It's like, oh, what can I shift right here, right me, in this? And then if my attitude shift doesn't work, what I do is then I change my location. I don't just go marching off, first of all. I wait, I shift. Attitude is always an internal process. Hi, Edward. So shift your attitude first. If that doesn't work, and it takes practice, the first time you go to shift your attitude from, this isn't much fun, to, oh boy, I can do this, it doesn't always work. You got to practice. It's a lot like when you begin the journey process, and what comes is you're dropped into a theta brainwave with a monotonous drum beat. You're asking for a power animal. And if you haven't got one, send me a message and let's get you one. So you're asking for something. You have an intention. And the drum beat drops you down into a theta brainwave. Hey, Tara. And in that theta brainwave, we have access to what's called, in my terms, it's called journeying. We have access to non-ordinary reality. In other terms, it's called lucid dreaming. So there's lots of terms for the same thing. But in that, you have access to information that you don't have on any other plane. So I personally find that journeying is a really lovely way to access that. If I'm struggling with something, then my guides, my animals are the ones who come to help me. Two-leggeds work perfectly, but my animals are there all of the time. And so they're there for you, and it's a beautiful way to do that. So you can drop into the journey process, ask for information, get elevated, and find a way to make your way through all of this. So, hey, Teresa. So if it happens that you're in self-doubt, you're starting something, you're not quite sure that it's exactly what you thought it was going to be, and you're ready to make a shift, then I invite you to send me a little private message, and I'll be on Facebook Live on Thursday as well, so you can join me there. So if you all don't have any questions, I'm just going to wait a little second or two, and if there's nothing you'd like to know about, I'm going to pop right off. So let me know. Okay. Oh, you know what? I wonder. Oh, Lola, hi. You guys will get to listen to the recording. All right. So I'm going to sign off for tonight. Feel free. I'm doing this every Monday night at 8. So drag up some questions, and I'm thinking about talking about habits next week. So if that's something that you'd like to hear about, let me know, and we can talk about how you get them and how you get rid of them. Okay, bye-bye, everyone. Bliss.